how we get this anxiety and depression. Most of the times it is pent-up fear that has been from our childhood, the trauma that we have experienced during our childhood or some other time, or it could be genetical also. If your parents are related, there is you are more susceptible for psychological issues, or in some cases where you will be having to go through a lot of trauma. Because of lot of trauma, what will happen is even a slightest issue will trigger that anxiety and depression. Most of the times what you are going through is your genetical weakness and your trauma, the environmental stress that you have been able to take. So once they both combine, there is a good chance of this anxiety or depression to come out. People who are having psychological issues in their family, what will happen is they are going to be extra careful than normal people. Normal people who are having no psychological issues in their family from their mother side or father side. And people who are related, whose mother and father are related, their children also are more susceptible for psychological issues. And if you are only one child, that could also be a reason. Why? Because emotionally you are not as matured as a person who is having a sibling. Why? Because if you are having a sibling, you would be able to understand how to deal with a person of your age and how to deal with loss and fight with each other, and all those things, the maturity will be there. But if you are a single child and you are not having that much exposure with same age person of yours, then it will be difficult for you to manage in your older ages. So some people say this anxiety and depression is just acting. Person is just pretending to be having anxiety or depression to not work or not study. Some people think of it, and some motivators come and say, no, you have to do the work, then all this anxiety and depression will be gone. These are the things these motivators tell. But if that motivator who is telling you that just use self-discipline, self-confidence, don't think all these things, for him, if that anxiety or depression comes, that person will be just sitting idle in his house, not doing anything, or would be dependent on taking serious doses of medication. As long as it is not coming to us, we can give lot of suggestions. People nowadays give like fashionable suggestions. Okay, what is this? This is just nonsense. You are just acting, or this person is done that. Person who is experiencing anxiety or depression, that person only knows. Other person does not know it. They can tell, you look healthy. What's wrong with you? That's not the point. In their mind, person who is suffering from anxiety or depression, in their mind, it is like a real thing. Trauma, so much trauma, internal trauma. The fear is in such an extent that they are able to physically feel the pain. Imagine a person suffering from cardiophobia, where the person thinks that he is getting a heart attack, and he gives so much, going to experience so much pain, like getting a real heart attack. It will be real for him. He will be getting all the symptoms of a real heart attack. Why? Because he would have searched in Google, where his subconscious mind understands those symptoms, and he will be getting all the symptoms like a real heart attack. So when the symptoms are real, and his fear is already afraid of that heart attack, and for him it is equivalent to really dying. In some cases, what they do is they go and stay near these hospitals, and they avoid going to places where there is no availability of a hospital or a doctor. So they avoid going outskirts. Their life becomes restricted. They will be just stuck to their house, or if they have to work, they will be working their job. That too with a great, tremendous difficulty they will be working. So it is not like only for people who are genetically susceptible, for them only it will come. If a person experienced a tremendous trauma, that person will also get this anxiety or depression. So it is a very common thing. So many people get anxiety or depression. That is a very common thing. And you don't need to think that because I am having a weak mind or I am lazy, that's why I got this. It does not differentiate. Even if you might be very confident, you might be very healthy, you might be fighting with lots of people, But once this anxiety or depression comes, the person becomes very weak, emotionally very weak. There is no test physically to tell that the person is having anxiety or depression. Physically, by looking at that person, no one can tell. And by this, people, what they do is they hide it furthermore. They wait for it. Usually when they come to me, usually it would have taken already 5 to 10 years they have suffered with anxiety or depression. And some people will be depending on medication, regularly medication, taking severe dosages of medication. Because of that, they would be experiencing physiological issues they will be experiencing. In some cases, erectile dysfunction and so many other complications they would be introducing to themselves. After some time, once they start taking medication in higher and higher dosages, their body develops tolerance to that medication, and the dosage needs to be increased to get the earlier effect. So again, the dosage will be increased or the medication will be changed. With increased dosage, increased side effects. At a point of time, it will be so severe that they must stop taking medication. Once they stop taking medication, it is like stopping drugs for a drug addict. The withdrawal symptoms will be there because they are psychologically dependent and physiologically dependent on that medication. And the withdrawal symptoms, they'll go into acute depression, which is far worse than where they started. So first thing is, you should try to come out of naturally from this anxiety or depression. If you are unable to come out of naturally, then the last resort should be medication as a last resort. So try to come out of it naturally. Another thing, even if you are taking medication, you have to have a strategy to deal with anxiety and depression, to deal with that emotional pain. You have to have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy, you just depend on medication, one day you won't be experiencing the same dullness as when you are taking that medication. See, medication, what it does is basically makes you dull. It doesn't mean that your issue is gone. So these negative thoughts will be decreased because of taking medication. You will be feeling dull. It doesn't mean that the issue is gone. Now you'll think, okay, now my negative thoughts are decreasing. So not only negative thoughts, other thoughts are also decreasing because that medication is making you dull. But after some time you will develop tolerance. Once you develop tolerance, and you are going to again have no effect. The medication won't be having any effect. So again you need to increase the dosage. Increase dosage, increase the side effects. So naturally, how to come out of anxiety or depression? First thing is, you should take care of your physical health. Even if you are suffering serious anxiety or depression, what you need to do is, you need to do morning cardio. Once you are doing this cardio exercises, then what will happen is, your mental stress will be gone. So you'll be able to deal with even that anxiety is coming means you'll be able to deal with it. Or else the build-up will be there. And with that build-up and this additional pressure, it will be unbearable. Like serious panic attacks you will be getting. So once you are doing some physical exercise, preferably in sunlight, once you start doing those physical exercises, then what will happen, whatever that stress, mental stress build-up is there, that will be decreasing. And it will take some time to come out of years of anxiety and depression. It is not like one day you exercise and you think that all that anxiety and depression will be gone. It will take some time to come out of it. Depends on how long you are suffering from anxiety or depression. And it is like continuous. You should be doing regularly. One day or for a few days you did it and you stop it, then again it will be having no effect if you stop it. So you have to continue doing that exercises. Another thing is, you have to avoid news. No matter what, you have to avoid news. Why? Because the news is information overload. And to make sensationalization, the news channels will give that pressure in you, telling you, now everything is over. Now people are doing this, people are doing that. Now we are going to die. Now again new disease is coming. They are going to make that. Because of that increased pressure, your brain will literally start feeling pressure. So you should avoid news and focus on things that make you relaxed, happy. If you watch a program that is where you will be feeling happy, like some jokes or some show where that makes you happy, that makes you laugh, that is good. Just watch some comedy that will make you happy. It doesn't mean that you're watching a comedy show and seriously watching that comedy show without laughing or doing anything. It's not the point. So some people tell, I don't feel like laughing. So how can what is the point if I artificially laugh? See, your brain does not know whether you are artificially laughing or really laughing. So whenever you are laughing, happy hormones will be released in your brain. Dopamine will be released. Serotonin will be released. You'll be feeling good because of that one. So your brain does not know. Even if you fake a smile also, you'll be getting the same result. Start laughing. It will be very difficult for you. In some cases, some of my clients, they can't even laugh. They are just like this. Their face is stuck like this. So what I do is I keep a pen or something, tell them to hold in their mouth so that they'll be smiling. That smiling face will be coming. So if your condition is so serious, you try doing that also. And another important factor is avoiding negative people. They could be your family members or your close friends. If the person makes you feel uncomfortable or stressed out, slowly avoid them. If they are very close family members, just try to ignore them for some time, and they will also understand it. And avoid people who comes and tells you these negative news that is happening, or tell their sad story that makes you anxious. Avoid these people also. See, here you should be selfish to come out of this issue. If you are too empathetic, some people are very empathy is very high for them. Even for a slightest thing they cannot tolerate. Because of that, their anxiety is going to increase further and further more. So you should be also dealing carefully with negative people who are getting you even more anxious. Thank you for listening to me. And if you have any doubts, you can write in the comments. In the next live, I will be able to answer them. Thank you very much.